And we're back. It's COMP228 Java programming, week 8, not late, week 8, lesson 8, part 4. We're broadcasting. Let's go back to what we're doing. So I was looking up some border options. One is, and Ravina pointed this out, she says, if we use aqua text field border, that's cool, but that's only for this look and feel. If we always want our aqua text field border to be the one, then it would work. I can certainly pull down another one, like make another one that's standard, like for example our a bevel border or a compound border or empty border. This is kind of a border style, this is a border type, if you will. This is our default border type. And if I look up border type, right, so not just the border color, like setup border, but if I do that, if I say, you know, this dot underscore age text field dot set, and if I start typing border, I only have border by itself, which is I select a border with a border factory, right? So that's one thing I can do. I can set up a border factory. I don't have other options. One thing I could do is set up a default border for my text field just in general. So I can set this one to black. I can set this one to black, even the other ones. They all look the same. So in code, I can say, let's use, instead of my empty border, I want to make everything flat, so I want to use my this dot underscore black line, just so that way it look consistent. So I can take the same set border property of my my other text fields, because I've got two text fields, right? I got my my other one as well. I can go back there, and the way we would do that is not here, right? But actually, when we declare our border up here, right? So here's my age text field. I could certainly go in here and let's get rid of these columns and put in, you know, my set border, this black line, right? So that I can do that, and I can do the same thing for my my name text field. I'm going to copy and paste here, and we're going to call this the underscore name text fields. Right, so I can set the border to black line for these ones as well. I probably would want to, from a ordering perspective, I probably want to put it there, so it's before I add it to the pane. Not that it matters; it won't matter, but that's probably where I want to do with it. I want to kind of take this out. So now I'm setting up this kind of my own customized look and feel. So when I can go from red to black, I don't have to worry about that issue. I'm making my own style, right? You can also cache it, and Ravina came up with a caching where you cache the style. The default style for the Windows system, and then you kind of go back to that cache style. You apply that style back as a border. Let's see how this looks. And I like that solution. That seems like, so it looks like there's two black flat borders where I can start typing information in. So I say, like, you know, Tom, and then I type some gobbledygook in there. It's wrong, and then I type 1. It goes back to black. Right. So at least that settles it. It looks like the same look and feel for both text boxes. Okay, cool. So I wanted to kind of cover that. We still got this issue over here. Okay, so we've covered this piece, and if I go back to the Word document, I know how to get data from my borders now, or these numbers, these text fields. How do I do this? What is this that I'm getting here? This little, I got a label, and then I got this pull down, right? So I want to handle that for the next 20 minutes or 10 minutes. It looks like now I'm running out of time. If I can get this done before the end of the day, that'd be nice. How do I do that? Well, if I go back to my example window and go back to design, let's take a look at some other options here for components. So JLabel, text field, JButton, radio button. Radio button is an actual, I can choose, it's almost like an on-off. A, B, C, D, choose one of the set of radio buttons that are in a collection, right? Checkbox the same way, I can choose one or more than one or none, right? That's the difference between a checkbox and a radio button. You can only choose one radio button. You can choose as many checkboxes as you like. Typically, that's how it works. A toggle button that toggles on-off. Text area, where I can type a long message. Right, that's what that does. I got a password text box, which is like a text box, but it just hides obfuscates the text that's in there. A JText pane, which is I can add in different attributes in there. A spinner, we looked at. A JList, a table, that's neat. JTable, and edit regular two-dimensional tables of cells. That's going to cool. A slider, that's going to cool. And a scroll bar. So different things that allow me to do different other options. So, How about a JList? So JList, that's one. And there's also a ComboBox. Those are the two ones that I can see that are kind of make sense to me. So a JList is a component that allows the user to select one or more objects from a list. I think that's what I want, right? Okay, so let's take this, and I want to put my JList, kind of underneath here somewhere. What the? Wait a minute. List, JList, there's no style to it whatsoever. Let's undo that. What was that? Wait a minute. There's my JList, right? It's not JLo, it's JList, right? And I want to kind of put in a value there. So where's my values? There's a collection usually of values that I have in here, right? If I look at my advanced properties in here, I see that my JList list of properties has my border. I don't have a border right now. My debug graphics, my enable, my font, my foreground, my layout orientation is vertical. My model, I like that one. My selected index is -1 because there is no index right now. Selection mode is multiple, right? I can also choose single selection. That's probably what I want to go, so single selection. And then where do I get my values from? Well, it's a square, right? Model, I'm saying that's why I said model, right? And if you notice, here's my list model items, right? So I can start typing in stuff like, let's type a number from 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And press OK. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's make it so that I only see one of the values there in my list. And make this list a little smaller, and then see how that move this list over here like this. Let's see what this looks like when we play around with it. I'm not even going to go to source right now. I'm just going to go to program Java and play. See what I get with this little thing. Yeah, that's a number value, but I can't really scroll. It doesn't do nothing, right? So that's not what I want. That's what I wanted to show you, right? So I want to get back in there. Go back into my design. Let's get rid of this list. Delete. Hey, how about if I do, here's something. If I go right click and I'll go test or preview, what does that do? Well, it does this. Without me having to run my code, it does a little test preview in the window, which is kind of cool. So, test preview. So I can test the window and see what it looks like. Okay, I want to add an item, but JList or a JList doesn't seem to be the right item from what it looks like. What about ComboBox? So if I go ComboBox, and I kind of, oh, that looks more promising. Take a look at this, right? So here's my ComboBox, and I want to put it underneath here, and then I can maybe pull this down. Let's see what the options are here. I got a model again. So I can put in some values. It says ComboBox models enum type. I can put that in, or I put some regular values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then press OK. So it starts off with 1, different model of types. And let's see what other options there are for here. It says verify input when, true. Visible, true. Request focus enabled is true. Lightweight population, yes, true. Editable, false. Definitely I want to make that false. Right? So if I go true, that means I can edit the values. I don't want to edit my values. I want it to be non-editable. Enabled is true. All right. These are all good values here. And by the way, I got this by clicking this button, this advanced look and feel. All right. Okay, so cool. I've got this value. So now let's run this code. Let's just do a preview and see what it looks like. Test preview. And now I got this value, and I can see I can choose 1 to 5, 2. But look, it doesn't show me the value in the thing here. How come? How come? Maybe my box is not big enough? How come it's, oh, there. Now I can see it. So my box wasn't big enough. Let's try that again. So I go test preview, and then I kind of go in here and I can choose this. This is ComboBox that I'm doing, right? ComboBox. So right now I've got my default is 1, and I can also choose my default cursor as a crosshair, a text cursor, a weight cursor, and different kinds of cursors. That's really cool. What about if I want to make it so that I have a default selection. Like how can I select it so that my default selection is, you know, is something different? Well, I got my model. My model usually tells me that's where I'm going to get my data from. Model is, you know, we use model view controller a lot. That's what it reminds me of. So I'm going to click this thing. And if I look down here to selected index is 1, let's make our selected index 2 and see what happens. Not 0, 2. And see what that does. There it is. See, it goes to 3 by default. Take a look at that, right? If I go to selected index 0, it always does 1, right? So that's my selected index by default. All right, so selected index, depending on what my selected index is I'm going to get the value, and whatever I get from this thing, even though it's a box, my model values are what? Strings, right? I can never think that the models, the way I've done it right now, is going to be anything up. But let's see how I monkey with my code. Go back to my source, and whoa, this is a bunch of strings, right? Look at what I did here. ComboBox set model, new default ComboBox model with new strings of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But remember what the rule says. I can have any value that I want, as many of these boxes as I like, right? Now I don't know if this is the right model, but anyways, set model selected index is 0. I can use selected index, right? Set selected index. I'm sure I can do get selected index for my ComboBox, and I want to definitely have my ComboBox as an item that's on the top of my my screen. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to make this a private ComboBox. We're going to rename this thing from ComboBox to something else. I forgot to do that. That's okay, which is right here. And let's get rid of this. I'm going to say this dot ComboBox, and I'll say the same thing. I'll change this to something else. And what I want to do is when I use my selection, right, this dot content pane and this dot ComboBox, what I want to do, this is the tricky piece of information here, what I want to do here, right? I want to say that if my selected index is whatever my selected index plus 1, that's how many buttons I want to generate. I want to make more buttons. Right? So if I change my selected index by 1, I'm gonna change the number of objects I'm gonna generate. How do I generate new objects on the fly? I make an array, oh yeah, of objects, right? That's what I tried to tell you guys before, right? So I can do that. So this ComboBox isn't the right name. I don't like that name. Let's change the name from ComboBox to we'll call it. What would I have in my thing? I don't know. My likes. I like my to-dos. My to-do ComboBox. There we go. So to-do ComboBox. I have a bunch of to-dos, right? That's what I have in here. My to-do ComboBox. And did I refactor rename? I did not. Let's go back up there. I meant to go and refactor rename, and then we'll say to-do ComboBox. All right, there we go. So my to-do ComboBox, oh yeah, damn, refactor rename. Let me know if I've driven you crazy yet, Ravina, with my my naughty ways. Okay, refactor rename. Refactor rename. What the hell? Whoa. Okay, that should do. Let me see. I renamed everything the way I wanted it to. Good, good, good. Okay, so when I need a listener, right, for this, just like I would normally do. So I'm going to go into my constructor, right? So here it is. I'm going to create a listener. So this dot underscore, I'll say that to do ComboBox dot add action listener. And then I'm going to feed into this. So I'm going to go back to my action listener, which is down here. And I'll say that if my event, let's my try catch block. This is my this. I get rid of some of this spacing in here. If my event dot get source, right, is equal to this dot to do ComboBox. If that's true, then what I want to do, I want to create, right? Depending on what the numbers. First, I want to get the value that's in my selected index, right? So I want to say index is equal to selected index plus 1, right? Let's do that. So I'll say, or I don't have to even do that. I can make a for loop of that. See you later. I can go, well then, for index is equal to, or int index is equal to 0, where index is less than selected index, right? Plus 1. So selected index plus 1 we'll do at least one time. What was that?
Less than or equal to selected index.
Sure, less than or equal to this dot underscore to do ComboBox dot selected index get selected index, right? Then I want to do index plus plus. So what I'm saying here is that I start at 0. If it's 0 or is this, increment it, and as long as I'm not higher, then I want to do this one time. And what do I want to do? I want to add a new box, which I'm going to define here, to the list, right? Now there's different ways of doing this. I can create an array list of boxes of text fields as an example, right? I could do that. So how would I do that? So I'm going to have an array list. I'll make that in here in my event. I could say, so it's an array list of type, which is a text field. Let's say it like that. And we're going to call this text field array list is equal to new array list text field. I think it's text field with a, yeah. Right? And then I'll have to make this the same. There it is. So my text fields, did I have a text field or is it JText? JText field, yeah? Yeah, JText field, baby. JText field. So I made an array list of text fields, and what I want to do is I want to add one add an array list. Right now there's nothing in there. I want to add one every time I go in. So I'm going to say text field array list add, right? I want to add one, which is a new JText field, anonymous text field, right? Yeah, I add one in there, right? So a new text field, add one in there, and then I want to get to this new text field. I want to add it into my object. So how do I retrieve it? I want to get it. So I'm going to say something like this. I'm going to say text field array list, made a big long name, dot get, and my integer would be the first one, which is the index, right, which is where I'm at right now. So that particular JText field, I want to add this one to my container. So I'm going to say this dot, what's it called, my container, content pane. This dot content pane dot add, which is this text field, blah blah blah, and I have to give it a particular thing, which is text field array list dot get index dot. I have to add a position because we're in absolute position mode, which is set bounds. Dot set bounds. I need that too, and we'll make it so that's lower. And I don't know where it's going to be, but I'm going to have to test it out. So dot set bounds. Thank you. Set bounds to and what did I grab there? What's that 99? 99 was something else. 99 was the age text field. So X and Y, so X is 99, Y is 76.
What do you think?
Same, and y is going to be,
So the third and fourth attribute, the size.
well,
And we can just change the
no, 76 is the same.
No.
That's weird. 82, but look at my
It is
age.
the label and the
Yeah, no, 99. 9 is the, so 99 is the first value. That's cool, but 76 would be something like way lower. So let's say 120
but then it will pop up all the things at 120.
plus the index
Then we can
times, plus the index times whatever, right? So I would do something like this. I would say set bounds, which would be my 99 plus my, 99 plus my index. Index, which was 1 times 20. Let's make it 20. And then just the rest, who cares? Right?
But 131 is, then they will kind of overlap because 28 is the height.
28?
They will be last year. Yeah.
Oh, 28. So make this 30.
Overlap, yeah.
How's that? Is that better? Okay. So that'll do. So let's see if that works. I don't know if even this is going to, I just
And
kind
I
of,
think that should be on the second position because x remains the same, but y value changes, right?
Oh yeah.
So this should be the second thing. and-
Smarty.
That makes us go.
There he goes. Very good, Ravina. That's why I love you so much. Okay, let's try this out before we get kicked out of this room for good. So I'll run it, and if I click this, and if I go to 2, and then I get another one. I go to 3, it's okay. Another one. I get a 4, it's the wrong position. I get a 5, right? So I added more things. What if I go back to 1? This is the bad part. It's gone, right? So what I need to do is I need to make it so that when I go back lower, I got to check to see, I got to make a check to see if the field is lower than this one, then I can remove objects, right? So I'm dynamically adding these boxes, and what I'm doing is when I go lower, depending if it was higher or lower, I got to check to see what my current value. I've got to keep a value that's inside my instance variables that shows my current number of text, my current number of rows, something like that, current rows. So I can keep track of how many, what I'm adding in, or I can keep track of what this value is, this index, selected index. If my selected index is less than my current index, I have a current index, right? Then subtract.
But we are creating a new list, right? So why should it not remove?
I mean,
Event.get source. Then we are creating a new list every time.
so what it should be, it's creating a new list. This array list is being created, right?
Every time a new should be created, then why it's not removing?
It's not removing it because it's there. I've already added it to my pane. See? I've got to remove it. Whenever I change this value, I got to remove all the array list values, each one after the other, out of the list. I got to create a way of going through my array list and going through and removing them before I kill my list. Right? So there's ways of doing this. I mean, I've made a list. My array list here is an array list that is local to my event. I can make it so that it's higher up in the chain so I can control it. Right now, it's just being controlled. It's going to be created and destroyed at the same
So
time.
maybe you can say that if the user changes the value.
I want you to think about this. This is your algorithm, right?
Like if the user changes the value, then we can remove everything that we have.
But here's the. I'm trying to give you the hint of where to go. This is the direction that I would go in to create these dynamically allocated areas. Yeah, you agree? There's tons of ways to do it, right?
It's like 50 chicken.
Selena, this is confusing. You don't like it?
I did it for C#
It's the same thing.
last semester, but it's Java.
I know. Java's tough. Anyways, we'll get back. Next day we get together. That's next week. We'll do more UI, and we'll introduce you to Java Effects, which is what's on the docket for next week. Okay?
It's not coming.
And that's it for me. I know Java Effects is weird.
Yeah, it's 76.
In 7 C# Java,